Good morning to everyone. So finally this class is, right now we are going to have a revision of both the subjects, derivatives and international finance. First 1 hour I will talk about derivatives and 100% focus on examination. Main final examination, but here and there you will find out your internal will also be covered. Conceptually it will be taken care of. Followed by next hour we will talk about international finance. So, derivatives and international finance. As I mentioned that from examination point of view how you are going to work. So, look into in financial derivatives. First very important is concepts associated to derivatives, which we discussed, and we found that ultimately it is meant for risk hedging. You have to have the risk hedging. Risk hedging means whatever the risk is there, that risk has to be managed. Here I will be more specific. This risk is financial risk. Any deviation which leads to some loss, which leads to some kind of unfavorable outcome, that basically primarily we consider for risk. And if that unfavorable is because of financial component, it is financial risk. So many risk hedging techniques are there. Derivative is one of the technique where you create a parallel position and you compensate, because see what is happening, any position which you have, normally we consider it as a spot position, and you create an alternate position, and that alternate position will compensate all the unfavorable situation of a spot position. Whatever unfavorable situation is there, that unfavorable situation has to be compensated. Why unfavorable situation will be there? That unfavorable situation is because of movement in underlying value. Maybe price has been moving, interest rate is moving, exchange rate is moving, anything of that is there, that is moving. So, that movement may have adverse situation. That adverse situation has to be covered through alternative position. So, first thing is that when we say a spot, it is T plus 2, but genuine position which we have is beyond T plus 2. It is more than T plus 2. And when we say beyond T plus 2, then a question arises here that suppose today January say 7th, we have a position in February 7th. We can't handle it today. Had it been handled today, we should have used this spot market, but our requirement, our need, our possibility is only on say February 7th or March 7th, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months hence, in any future date beyond T plus 2. Then in that case, we have to look upon during these periods, is there any movement in the underlying? And if movement in the underlying is there, that movement in the underlying has to be taken care of. And for that taking care of, we require to have some risk hedging exercise, so that even if movement has taken place, like for example, if I am an importer who has to make payment after 1 month of time and foreign exchange is going to unfavorably move. Say I have to make payment in USD dollar, and right now 83 rupees will move in 1 month of time to 84 rupees. So, 1 rupee per dollar I have to pay more. That is unfavorable movement. Okay, if I have to borrow after 2 months of time and borrowing, say interest rate is expected to move high, then in that case it is going to affect me. This is what unfavorable situation is there. So, what to do? Then in that case, if I have to take a buy position here, say on February 7th, which may, like an importer I have to buy, can it be possible I reverse my position, and if I reverse my position, I will gain because of that. So that reversal of position will take in alternate market, and that alternate market will help me to decide about what kind of gain or loss is going to be there, right? What could be that alternate market? So first derivatives component, we had talked about forward market. Forward market is not in a true sense of the derivative market. Repeatedly I have said, there is two different school of thought. One school of thought thinks forward is also a derivative, because ultimately it is meant for a risk hedging. That's true, and from that angle point, even I consider them, and that's why I am also discussing this forward market. Whereas another school of thought says that no, it is not a true sense of derivative product, because it is an independent market which is substituting your spot position. Means right now itself, instead of having any spot position, you go and you take the position in forward market, and that taking the position in forward market is ultimately substituting the spot position. The spot position is not going to be anymore. Instead of thinking something else, you directly right now booked for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months hence, and when you booked it, that market is forward market. Now question is, when you are booking in the forward market, it is OTC market, which is all the property like non-standard, having bilateral risk, all those things will be there. It is an OTC, over the counter product is there. Now what happens when forward market has been booked? That's a one dimensions. So we have already counted days counts were there, how forward maturity will be set with, how T plus 2, first you have to have that spot calculation, then exactly you will be adding and you will get that what kind of period is going to be there. So suppose on January 7th, some 1 month forward contract has been used. So first you will look into a spot delivery date, that is January 7 plus 2 days, January 9th plus 1 month, that is February 9th. February 9th will become as the forward delivery dates. Now what happens whenever a contract has been booked with the banker, and if you go for any kind of a change in the forward contract, that also we discussed, and that change in the forward contract means what kind of a situation will arise, and that situation will be something like your swaps position is going to be there. If you banker will have to change it, that I suggest you to go through with the detail of that exercise, how that swap position is going to help the banker in the case of any counterparty has requested for some change in the forward position. And that position we had discussed about swap in or swap out, or forward in, forward out. That is what we had discussed. And if suppose you take a simultaneous two positions, one is in a spot market, another is in forward market, and a spot market, if you have taken the long position, and forward market you have taken the short position, it will become in. If you have taken here short position and here you have taken long position, it will become out. Similarly, if you have taken the near forward position, long position, and distant forward position, short position, it is forward in, and if it is going to be near forward position as the short position, and here it is long position, it is going to be out. And that is what it is there. There is a possibility some MCQ will be lying of that nature, right. Now next to that, once you have taken this position, and this is this kind of a swap position, swap in, swap out, of forward in, forward out, will be basically taken by the banker who is actually trying to have the balancing of positions or insulating the position, hedging the position because of any because of the situation arising on the request of the counterparty. If one party has requested, that has been made it. This is what required. Now next to that, so forward is actually it is a substitution of a spot position. But if we make a standardized product and forward is getting a standardized, that will consider as futures. So futures is nothing but it is the standard one. At least 2 questions will be there on futures, and you must prepare it effectively. So Futures is what? A standard forward. A standard forward is there. How that standard forward is going to get counted? Now, understand here. First of all, futures is a separate market. Let's close it. Futures is a separate market, and in that separate market, your spot position will be remaining there. A spot position will not change. A spot position will be as it is. You take a reverse position in futures market here. Alternate market is futures market. So it has got a very good philosophy that you have an exposure in a spot market. That exposure is in a particular underlying asset. It may be currency, it may be commodity, it may be a stock, it may be index. Anything is there which you have a position. In futures market, you reverse your position. Like if you have to take a long position here, you create a position which is going to be short here. If you have a short position here, you create a position which is going to be long here. So the moment you reverse the position, then in that case, that movement is, which adverse movement was there, you had an expected adverse movement in your natural way, that your reverse position, reverse of reverse is actually favorable position. Is that clear? If I know that a foreign currency is going to be costlier and I have to buy after 2 months of time, can it be possible today I take a long position and at that point of time I will sell that? If it is going to be costlier, it will be giving me a gain. It will be favoring me. That position has to get created in the futures market. Now, in this futures market, you have to be very careful that is difference from the forward market is, it is a standard product, exchange traded product. It is the product which has got a defined lot size, standard actually taking care of it. Since it is exchange traded product, there is no counterparty risk. So default risk is negligible, but one very important new kind of situation arise, and that situation is called MTM, mark to market, is arising. And that mark to market is the way forward market, once you booked for 1 month of time or 2 months of time or 3 months of time, you are fixed now. Whatever in between or otherwise price is changing is not going to affect your position. But in this case of futures market, it is every day your position will be mapped, or your position will be actually compared with the closing price of on that particular day of that underlying one, resulting into every day you will be either on gain or loss position. And this is not a notional gain or loss, it is a real gain or loss, because actually if gain will be there, that surplus amount will be accounted to credited to your account, and if there is a loss, it will be debited from your account. And if your account has been debited and balance has gone down, there will be a margin call also. So margin call will also be arising. Now this is the point where you have to have numerical question, and that numerical question you will be solving. Very simple question. How you should be solving it? Make a table, prepare it the date wise price movement, and look into that what kind of position is going to be there. Now the question is, here itself arise, how margin call is going to get decided? Margin call is going to get decided your blocked amount. How block amount will be there, how much margin you have to keep, and that margin when we are talking about, we know we have got a span margin. A span we had discussed, a complete one numerical we had talked. Both your MCQ will also be having some question related to it, as well as final question will also be having one numerical, big numerical will also be there. It is so called numerical, but very simple in nature. How you will be calculating? There is a price. So whatever price is there, at price you are going to book it. Say price is 100 rupees, lot size is 1000. I am taking a very simple example. So 100,000 is going to be the value, one lot if you are taking, and let us say 5% is the one margin, or 7% is one margin and 5% is another margin. So 7 plus 5, 7% margin, 5% margin, 12% margin, 100,000 is going to be the value, 12,000 rupees is your requirement. Am I clear? So 12,000 rupees is going to be locked when you have taken position, because 7 plus 5 to 12% margin is going to be there. That amount must be there, then only you can enter in the market. Now what happens? Price will move. When 100 is the price, either it will go to 99, 98, 97, or it will go to 100, 1, 2, 3, 4. If it is, you have taken a long position, it has gone to 102, means 2 rupees increment is there. Is it clear or not? 2 rupees increment is there, 2 rupees on 1000 of the, so 2000 is the gain you have not. But actually how much is the ultimate gain? You have to calculate, and that calculation you will be making. That calculation you will be making by multiplying by 102. So 102 into 1000, 102,000. Now your 12% of 102,000. That will become your margin requirement. Similarly, reverse order will be there. Are you getting me? Yes, sir. So every time, don't make it as a, what is the normal blunder student make is, once margin has been decided, something like say 12,000 rupees, they consider 12,000 as a constant figure. It's not like that. And if you consider 12,000 as a constant figure, then in that case your margin call calculation will go wrong. Is it clear? So make it as a dynamic one, dynamic calculation will be there. So this is one set of question on numerical related to futures. What is the another set of numerical? Another set of numerical will be there. Then how to decide what is going to be the total positions. If suppose I have an exposure related to say $1,000, how many lots I should consider? How many lots? And that how many lots is going to get decided, how it is going to get set with. That will be depending upon a kind of a ratio, and H is equal to rho sigma S upon sigma F. Now this could also be a part of question, hedge ratio. If suppose it may be a small 1 mark numerical question, how it will be there? Correlation coefficient is given to you. Volatility in the spot market versus volatility in the futures market is given to you. Ultimately it will be asked, if I have a position 1000, how much I will be taking. Are you getting me? If you have not prepared, just by looking into figures, you will get confused. Oh, numerical question आ गया, कैसे होगा, एक नंबर का है. Oh, simple सी बात है, volatility दिया हुआ है. Correlation coefficient, suppose किसी का correlation coefficient 0.8 है. Okay, ऐसे same underlying will be there, so correlation coefficient will be high. 0.8 is correlation coefficient. Sigma S मान लो किसी का, या ये volatility ratio ही directly दे दिया गया है. Volatility ratio दे दिया हुआ है ना? If I say that futures market is 1.5 times volatile than the spot market, इसका मतलब क्या हो गया? 1/1.5 हो गया, एक value निकल के आ गया. And then you look into what kind of position you have to, or a spot market is 2 times volatile, double volatile than the futures market, तो क्या हो गया? पूरा value 2 हो गया. 2 into a 0.8 क्या हो गया? 1.6. My exposure is how much? 1000. 1000 into 1.6, 1600 का मेरा पोजीशन क्रिएट हो जाएगा. नीचे चॉइस में 1600 को टिक मारो. ओके, चॉइस में 800 भी होगा, 1000 भी होगा, 1200 भी होगा, 1600 भी होगा, टिक लगा दो. That's a very basic 1 mark numerical. That kind of question could be there. Am I clear? So hedge ratio is very important, and understand this hedge ratio ultimately decides about, याद कीजिए डेल्टा वगैरह भी हम लोगों ने किया था, गामा किया था, उन सब जगह पे भी जाके आपको थ्योरेटिकली कवर करने की ज़रूरत है. तो ये, and there is a third important point which is very, very important, is how futures price is going to get decided. Futures price will be deciding theoretical price and actual price is going to set with. So whenever we talk about theoretical price, there has been a a spot price plus cost to carry plus convenience yield. That is what going to be a theoretical futures price of the things. Spot price plus cost to carry and plus convenience yield. If cost to carry really you have to carry, really you have to continue with the carrying it, then in that case it will be a case of contango, and if you have got this a negative cost to carry, then it will be a case of backwardation. So contango and backwardation, two conditions had been there. Clear? So that, but the formula will always be plus. Okay. So contango and backwardation, two conditions, and you know ultimately there has been a third concept called convergence. Convergence was there, that when the futures is close to expiry, and on expiry date the spot price and futures price is going to be same. Otherwise there will be an arbitrage opportunity. Okay, that's the way it is going to be used. Now once we have already, so contango and backwardation, the conceptual part, tick mark karo. क्या होगा contango में, क्या होता है, what the contango is there? Contango is basically when your futures price is more than the spot price, then it is called contango, otherwise it will be backwardation. So that's the way your futures market is going to be there. Now depending upon underlying, like it could be interest rate futures, it could be currency futures, it could be stock futures, it could be index futures, it could be commodity futures, depending upon what futures you are going to consider, and accordingly you will take the positions. And when you are taking a long position, the beginning it is called long hedgings. If it is short position, it is called short hedging. Sometime by definition, by nature, your position is going to get specified. Suppose you are an exporter who has got a receivables and foreign currency is going to depreciate, you have to have a what position you are going to create. It is a short position you are going to create. If you are going to have an importer, it is going to be a long position you have to create. Similarly, a farmer is going to be there, how the position is going to get created, that has to be set. But the entire component when we consider, so 2-3 different kind of numerical it is going to be there, and that numerical you have to have first numerical related to margin calculations, and margin call is there. That's when call is going to be there, that is what called mark to market is the numerical is there. Second numerical based on the ratios calculations, third numerical is going to have on the theoretical price calculations, and there is another concept called cheapest to deliver is going to be there. Generally what happens, you have to have very careful related to the property. Suppose I consider interest rate futures is there. In the interest rate futures what happens, I have to hedge my interest rate. If I am a borrower and interest rate is expected to rise, then in that case, if interest rate is expected to rise, then in that case what will happen? My borrowing will become costlier. If I should had borrowed today, it should have been cheaper compared to borrowing in futures, right? So how we can make it? We can use this borrowing will be in future only. I don't want to borrow now, I don't require it now. Suppose I am going to have a project, and project is going to start after 1 year or 6 months of time, after 3 months of time. I don't require to borrow now, I don't want to pay for 6 months without requiring that money. But in 6 months of time it is expected interest rate will go up. Then in that case I am going to suffer because of that. Can it be possible I can hedge it? And there your concept related to bond valuation, where it says that first theorem of bond I had already explained you even in the corporate finance as well as in the financial derivatives, that bond price is, change in bond price is inversely related to change in the interest rate or yield, and that inverse relationship is going to be used. इसका मतलब क्या हो गया? Interest rate is expected to move up, bond price will be falling, and if bond price is falling means today bond is costlier. So if today I take a short position, selling position, is it clear? Today you sell your bond and buy the bond afterward. So when you are selling the bond today, short position is going to be there, then in that case importer can hedge through short hedgings because of change in rising interest rate. Exporter will be going for long hedgings because of falling interest rate. Bond price will be going to be costlier. How many bonds? Then the second question arises. How many bonds or what kind of bonds is going to be there? How many bonds will be explained through your hedge ratio? But what kind of bond? Now so many bonds are there. Normally we consider underlying as a treasury bonds. Treasury bonds means whatever the government bonds are there. Why government bonds? At least default risk will not be there. Qualified instruments are there. But so many government series bonds are there with the varying maturities. then what will happen? If interest rate is expected to move up, then in that case, which price will fall more? Longer the maturity, theta. Understand that Greeks which we have studied. Longer the maturity, more impact will be there. Is it clear? So we can take it which instrument is going to have more impact. So whether we should, now bond is there, but which bond we should sell? Should we sell 1 year maturity bond, 10 years maturity bond, 20 years maturity bond, which bond we should take? These kind of decisions also has to be taken, and that is what actually theta will be applied there. That's the Greeks is going to get applied. Clear? So that's the way we will be considering. That's the way we are going to use this concept, and that we will take care of it. That is called cheapest to deliver. Cheapest to deliver means when you are in a short position holder, you are a seller, some party is buying, say banker, how you will decide? Which bond you will give? You have a basket of bonds, say A to E, which bond you will give? And that concept is very, very important. And so please jot down that cheapest to deliver, where you have the minimum cost. Minimum cost should be delivered. Yes or not? Deliver. Cheapest to deliver bond out of A, B, C, D, E. Say you calculate which one is the cheapest one. Ultimately, the bond which is the having minimum cost, that will be cheapest to deliver. There is another important point related to futures pricing is there, and in that futures pricing point is how futures price will be quoted. The theoretical price which we talked about, a spot price is there, and that spot price plus cost to carry plus convenience yield, it is there. Now a question arises that how you are going to consider them, and that considerations is very, very important. Is it a cash price plus some accrued interest is going to be there? Whenever pricing we talk about, it could be in terms of clean price, it could be in terms of dirty price, or cash price is going to be there. So whatever quoted price, normally it is clean price plus whatever the accrued cash is there, that is making it dirty price. Overloading is there, accrued interest but not due. It is whatever accrued interest is there. Why I am saying in that way? Understand in the interest rate futures one important point. Suppose today we are going to have on January 7th, a transaction is going to take place. A bond price is say 1000 rupees, having a coupon, let's say 8% per annum, payable semi-annually. So 4% will be the semi-annual payment. Last coupon is going to be there, which has been paid say on September 30th. So September 30th one payment has been there, March 31st another payment will be there. Now what happens on this 1000 rupees bond? Let's say market price, clean price is also 1000 rupees. 1000 rupees bond have got 1000 rupees. I am going to sell that bond. I am the holder of the bond. I am selling the bond. What will happen? At what price I should sell the bond? 1000 rupees. But the plus one more component will be there. When I had received my interest on this bond, 30th September, when I am selling the bond right now, January 7th, how much time has already crossed? 3 months, 7 days. Yes or not? हाँ, साल में 2 बार मिलेगा, तो एक बार मार्च 31st को मिलेगा, एक बार साल में 2 बार 6-6 महीने पे मिलेगा ना. इसलिए तो मैंने सितंबर 30th बोला था. क्वार्टरली मिलता तो दिसंबर में मिल जाता, तो फिर 7 डेज का अक्रूवल होता. अब क्वेश्चन उठता है, अंडरस्टैंड द बिहेवियर, व्हाट एग्जैक्टली हाउ द डर्टी प्राइस इज गेटिंग क्रिएटेड. 1000 रुपीज शुड बी द प्राइस, बट व्हाट हैपेंस, 1000 रुपीज तो बॉन्ड का प्राइस है. Now I had received 6 months interest on 30th September. Now my next 6 months interest will be available on March 31st. Company will pay interest on March 31st to the party whose name will be there in the register. Am I clear? Whose name will be there in the register? And in the register within a week time name get changed. January to 2. Now today's it is within 2 days get changed because of that deal is there. Demat account. Immediately effect is there. Even say in 1 week time it is going to be there. I sold my bond to someone. So within a week time, that bond will be to his or her name. On 31st March, for entire 6-month interest will be given to her, right? Because कंपनी के पास जिस दिन पे इंटरेस्ट पे करना है उस दिन जिसका नाम है उसको पे करेगा, क्लियर? लेकिन उसके पास 6 months तो इंस्ट्रूमेंट नहीं था, 3 महीने तो मैंने रखा है इंस्ट्रूमेंट, 3 months 7 days. एम आई क्लियर? अब मान लो 1000 रुपीज का 6 months का इंटरेस्ट 4% के रेट से कितना हो जाएगा? कितना हो जाएगा? 40, यस और नॉट? 1000 में 40 रुपीज हो गया, 40 रुपीज 6 months का इंटरेस्ट है, तो 3 महीने 7 days का इंटरेस्ट कितना होगा उसमें से निकाल लीजिए. मान लो फिलहाल अभी 7 days को इग्नोर करो तो मोटा मोटी क्या हो गया? 20 रुपीज. तो ये वो 20 रुपीज जो आपको 40 मिलेगा उसमें 40 तो आपका नहीं है, 20 तो मेरा है. तो आप अच्छा बाद में हम कहाँ ढूंढने जाएंगे आपको? तो क्या होगा? मैं आपसे 1000 रुपीज भी लूंगा प्लस कितना लूंगा? 20. एक्रूड इंटरेस्ट बट नॉट ड्यू. नॉट ड्यू मीन्स अभी ड्यू ही नहीं हो, ड्यू तो 31st मार्च को होगा जाके. इज इट क्लियर? कम इंटरेस्ट. तो क्या हो जाएगा? प्राइस क्लीन प्राइस से डर्टी प्राइस बन जाएगा, हेवियर प्राइस बन जाएगा, 1020 पे करना पड़ेगा. एम आई क्लियर? दैट्स द वे कैलकुलेशन इज देयर. बी वेरी केयरफुल, इवन MCQ क्वेश्चन विल बी लाइक दिस. ओके, सो these are the certain concepts which is going to help you to understand it, right? So cheapest to deliver हो गया, क्या theoretical price कैसे calculate होगा, clean price वगैरह से कैसे count होगा, and all those things are going to make it. Now next to this, but the one biggest limitation of futures, of course one limitation or one risk component was MTM, mark to market, which will be actually might be possible you have taken futures position to his, but it might be possible it will be ultimately taking your position down. Then you can take another position, and that is called options market. So a very important market is options market, where you can decide what is going to be set. Okay, in options market, one biggest limitation of futures market that once you entered, even if it has got adverse movement, you have to continue with the position, that is going to be taken care of. So in options market, now again 3 important components you have to have. First is concept. Most of the questions in the MCQ belongs to concepts only. Second one is a strategy, and third one is your pricing, means premium determination. These 2 places, strategy and this pricing, you will have to have the numerical also. Concepts, when we say, we know that there are 2 parties, long and short, there are 2 products, call and put. Okay, so depending upon that, call means right to buy, and put means right to sell, that's the product is there, and this right when we say it is to buyer, so long position is actually for the buyer, option buyer, short position is for option writers, and there will be this call or put has got a price called premium or option price, which is actually it has to be determined here, and the underlying price will be there, that is called a strike price or exercise price. And this whether you should, since here is a choice, here is a freedom whether you should exercise or not exercise, so you will be taking this decision based on the spot price. So if you have a call position and your spot is bigger than a strike, then in that case you go and exercise it because a spot is costlier. Okay, then a spot is costlier. And if it is a put position, then you don't do that. Reverse is true in other cases. That is what we have viewed. Always, whenever you are solving the question, whenever you are putting it, put yourself into the situation. सबसे बेस्ट लर्निंग टेक्निक यही है जो मैंने अपना टेक्निक अडॉप्ट किया कि अगर मैं ट्रेडर होता, अगर मेरा कॉल पोजीशन होता तो मुझे फ़ायदा क्या होता, मैंने इतने पे ख़रीदना है, इतने पे मार्केट में मिल रहा है, मैं क्या करता। और जैसे ही ऐसे आप एनालाइज करना शुरू करोगे, सारा कॉन्सेप्ट आपके पास, आपके क्लैरिटी में आ जाएगा। इंगेज योर सेल्फ, इन्वॉल्व योर सेल्फ, डोंट मग अप, रटो मत कि स्पॉट ग्रेटर देन स्ट्राइक, ये दिमाग में कभी मत लाओ। आप कॉल को समझते हो जाओ। कॉल मतलब क्या, राइट टू बाय, मैं खरीदना है। उसी तरह शॉर्ट कॉल का मतलब क्या हो गया, व्हेन आई एम टेकिंग अ पोजीशन आई हैव रिटन द ऑप्शंस। शॉर्ट यही है ना, राइटिंग किया है। कौन सा राइटिंग किया है, कॉल। इसका मतलब कि शॉर्ट करते ही मेरा ऑब्लिगेशन हो गया, मेरे पास राइट नहीं है। तब कौन एक्सरसाइज करेगा, नहीं करेगा। इमीडिएटली शॉर्ट कॉल में मेरा पोजीशन या शॉर्ट पुट में मेरा पोजीशन कब क्लैरिटी से आएगा, जब मैं सोचूंगा जिसको मैंने कॉल बेचा उसके लिए वो लॉन्ग कॉल होगा, वो क्या करेगा। अगर वो एक्सरसाइज करने आ रहा है तो मुझे ऑनर करना पड़ेगा। अगर वो एक्सरसाइज नहीं करेगा तो प्रीमियम मेरा फायदा हो गया। दैट्स माई बेनिफिट। द मोमेंट यू एंगेज योर सेल्फ। अब देखो बहुत आसान है, मुझे कहीं से टफ नजर नहीं आता, बशर्ते आप इंगेज होइए, आप इन्वॉल्व हो जाइए क्वेश्चन में, क्रिएट कीजिए क्वेश्चन और वैरायटी ऑफ क्वेश्चन को प्रैक्टिस कीजिएगा तो आपका सिचुएशन चेंज करेगा। तो दिस इज व्हाट योर कॉन्सेप्ट्स एसोसिएटेड टू इट। इस पूरे कॉन्सेप्ट में 4 ही स्ट्रैटेजीज था। क्या स्ट्रैटेजीज था, लॉन्ग कॉल, लॉन्ग पुट, शॉर्ट कॉल, शॉर्ट पुट, ऐसे ही कर लो, ऐसे कर लो, लॉन्ग कॉल, लॉन्ग पुट, शॉर्ट कॉल, शॉर्ट पुट, राइट, दैट इज देयर। अब क्या हो गया, इसी का कॉम्बिनेशन तैयार करने लगे, वेरियस कॉम्बिनेशंस। when you are getting combinations, when you are going to have the various strategies, depending upon the situation that you don't know that what kind of market movement will be there, what kind of market condition could be there. Market could be bullish in nature, market could be bearish in nature, or market could be neutral in nature. Neutral market could be there. So in different condition, different strategies could get adopted. Okay, bull spread, bear spread and neutral spread could be possible. Normally straddle, strangle, neutral spread हमने काफ़ी देखा है, bull spreads वगैरह को भी पढ़ा, bull spreads को देखा, and ultimately what is happening, how numerical will be there in the strategy. First of all, you have to have that two kinds of question. One may be theoretical question could be there, and in theoretical question you have to find out that what kind of numerical, what kind of situation is there and what kind of a strategy will be helping you. If you are not very sure that market movement is in which side, Vega is very high, Vega is what, volatility. Greek को recall कीजिए, volatility is very high, then in that case you are going to look upon which situation is going to work. Okay, बहुत ज़्यादा है, डायरेक्शन पता ही नहीं है, और probability distribution is there. In that probability distribution you have to look upon how much it is up and down. Okay, suppose करो I am sure 75% sure that market will go up, but I am 25% there is a possibility of going down. It is not 50-50 situation, then a different ratio could get created. तो यहाँ दो चीज़ करोगे आप क्या करो, स्ट्रैटेजी, सारे स्ट्रैटेजी जितने भी कॉमन हमने क्लास में पढ़ा है सब स्ट्रैटेजीज़ को आप नोट कर लो। जैसे बुल स्प्रेड है, अब बुल कॉल है, बुल पुट है, बियर कॉल है, बियर पुट है, न्यूट्रल पोजीशंस में है, स्ट्रैडल है, स्ट्रैंगल है, बटरफ्लाई है, बॉक्स है, कंडोर है, स्ट्रिप है, स्ट्रैप है, लिख दिया, सबका कॉलम बना दिया। सबसे पहला क्या कंडीशन है, होता क्या है, पोजीशन क्या लेना है। जब आप पोजीशन लोगे तो आप ध्यान दीजिएगा कि आपके लॉन्ग कॉल, लॉन्ग पुट, शॉर्ट कॉल, शॉर्ट पुट, इसी 4 पोजीशन का कॉम्बिनेशन होगा, इसके अलावा 5वां कोई पोजीशन नहीं होता। ठीक है, अगर मान लो मैंने लॉन्ग कॉल भी ले लिया, लॉन्ग पुट भी ले लिया, या लॉन्ग कॉल भी ले लिया और शॉर्ट कॉल भी ले लिया, मैंने लॉन्ग पुट भी लिया, शॉर्ट पुट भी लिया, मैंने 2 लॉन्ग पुट लिया, 2 शॉर्ट पुट लिया, मैंने 1 लॉन्ग पुट लिया, 2 शॉर्ट पुट लिया, मैंने 2 लॉन्ग पुट लिया, 1 शॉर्ट पुट लिया, किसी तरह का कॉम्बिनेशन बनाते चले जाओ। अल्टीमेटली आप यही देखो, इस तरह से एक मैपिंग करो, समझ रहे पढ़ने का तरीका, मैपिंग करें आप, करना तो यही 4 है, ठीक है। अब क्वेश्चन उठता है और क्या वैरायटी बन सकती है। मैं एक, क्योंकि डिटेल में पढ़ चुके हैं हम लोग, तो इसलिए मैं सिर्फ एक आपको रफ स्केच तैयार कर रहा हूँ, मेन ग्रॉस तैयार कर रहा हूँ, कैसे आप क्विक वे में तैयार कर सकते हो। अब इसके बाद क्या वेरिएशन हो सकता है, जो अंडरलाइंग है उसी अंडरलाइंग की बात कर रहे हैं हम। इसका मतलब कि अगर अंडरलाइंग में, सपोज करो अंडरलाइंग में मैंने टीसीएस डाल दिया, अंडरलाइंग में मैंने यूएसडी डाल दिया, अंडरलाइंग में मैंने गोल्ड डाल दिया, तो सारी बात गोल्ड की ही कर रहे हैं, अंडरलाइंग बदल नहीं रहे हैं। ऐसा नहीं कर रहे हैं कि एक लॉन्ग कॉल, तो अगर मान लो मैंने 2 लॉन्ग पुट कहा तो एक लॉन्ग पुट टीसीएस में होगा, दूसरा लॉन्ग पुट इन्फोसिस में होगा, ऐसा नहीं कर रहे हैं, सेम अंडरलाइंग की बात कर रहे हैं। इज इट क्लियर? तो अंडरलाइंग सेम हो गया। ऐसे अंडरलाइंग हम डिफरेंट कर सकते हैं, बट दैट इज नॉट राइट नाउ आर विद इन स्कोप ऑफ आर डिस्कशन। तो अंडरलाइंग सेम हो गया कहानी। अब सेम अंडरलाइंग में भी 2 प्रॉपर्टी है, सेम अंडरलाइंग में भी 2 प्रॉपर्टी है। क्या प्रॉपर्टी है 2? तो अगर मान लो टीसीएस ही है तो टीसीएस की पहचान कैसे होगी, या यूएसडी की पहचान कैसे होगी? इज इट जनवरी टीसीएस, इज इट फरवरी टीसीएस, इज इट मार्च टीसीएस? कौन से टीसीएस की बात कर रहे हो आप? दैट इज बेसिकली कॉल्ड एक्सपायरी। क्या करते हैं इसको? एक्सपायरी, टाइम ड्यूरेशन। टीसीएस, जनवरी टीसीएस एंड फरवरी टीसीएस आर डिफरेंट प्रोडक्ट नाउ, वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन। तो वहां पे लिखा हुआ आएगा सेम एक्सपायरी का प्रोडक्ट आप ले रहे हो, सेम एक्सपायरी ले रहे हो, इसका मतलब कि आपका टाइमलाइन पे चेंज नहीं हो रहा है, सेम एक्सपायरी ले रहे हो। इज इट क्लियर? अब दूसरा क्वेश्चन उठता है, क्या आपका प्राइस, अच्छा टीसीएस मान लो जनवरी टीसीएस लिया, अब जनवरी टीसीएस में ही क्या होगा कि कई तरह के स्ट्राइक प्राइस होंगे। एम आई क्लियर? अब जनवरी टीसीएस ही 3400 का टीसीएस है, 3500 का टीसीएस है, 3600 का टीसीएस है, मान लो अभी ऐसे कर दिए। 3 प्रोडक्ट है, कौन सा प्रोडक्ट ले रहे हैं हम? तीनों जनवरी का ही है। स्ट्राइक प्राइस चेंज करेगा, प्रीमियम चेंज कर जाएगा, राइट और नॉट? प्रीमियम चेंज कर जाएगा। कौन सा ले रहे हैं? अगर सेम स्ट्राइक प्राइस ले रहे हैं तो सेम स्ट्राइक प्राइस लेंगे तो क्या हो गया, अब सेम एक्सपायरी जनवरी, सेम स्ट्राइक प्राइस 3500 पे वी आर डीलिंग। अब इसका मतलब लॉन्ग पुट भी कर रहे हैं और शॉर्ट पुट भी कर रहे हैं, दोनों सेम स्ट्राइक प्राइस सेम पे। इस स्ट्रेटजी को क्या कहते हैं, वहां नाम मैच कर लीजिए, या उस नाम से इसको कवर कर लीजिए, तो डिफरेंशियल पता चल जाएगा कि आपको क्लियर। तो ये वैरायटी यही है। अब या तो क्या कर सकते हो आप कि एक जनवरी ले लो, एक फरवरी ले लो, जनवरी को 3500 पे ले लो, फरवरी को 3500 पे ले लो, इसका मतलब सेम स्ट्राइक प्राइस बट डिफरेंट एक्सपायरी। इज इट क्लियर? टाइम वैरी करेगा, टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी आएगा उसमें, या टाइम वैल्यू आएगा, इंट्रिंसिक आएगा, वो चेंज करेगा। तो एक तो सेम हो गया। अब ऐसा हो सकता है कि जनवरी ले लो दोनों, लेकिन एक्सपायरी को डिफरेंट कर, सॉरी स्ट्राइक प्राइस को डिफरेंट कर दो। जनवरी एट 3500, टीसीएस एट 3500 स्ट्राइक प्राइस, जनवरी टीसीएस 3600 स्ट्राइक प्राइस। जैसे जैसे स्ट्राइक प्राइस बढ़ेगा आप जानते हो प्रीमियम घटेगा, ऐसा नॉट? तो ये अब आपके स्ट्रेटजी का ये यही 3-4 चीजें तो बदलेगी ना। एम आई क्लियर? यही तो ब्लेंड करते हैं, यही वैरायटी तैयार करता है, यही स्ट्रेटजी तैयार करता है। ये याद कीजिए क्लास के वक्त मैंने कहा था वही सेम पनीर है, अगर मटर डाल दो तो मटर पनीर हो जाता है, और मशरूम डाल दो तो मशरूम पनीर हो जाता है। सिर्फ पनीर छोड़ दो तो उसमें भी इतनी वैरायटी है कि शाही पनीर भी रहेगा, कढ़ाई पनीर भी रहेगा, है ना? है तो बेचारा पनीर ही। एग्जैक्टली ऑन द सेम वे यू आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस द डिफरेंट प्रोडक्ट। और अगर ये ट्रेंड आपको हो गया तो आप अपनी इच्छा से भी आप चेंज कर सकते हो चीज़ों को। अब जब बदलते इस तरह से तो आपको देखोगे कि आप यही सब प्राइसिंग डिफरेंस में अलग अलग स्ट्रैटेजी होता चला जाता है। सबको आप उस वैरायटी पे कीजिए। अब क्वेश्चन होता है अगर बड़ा न्यूमेरिकल फुल न्यूमेरिकल आ गया तो अब क्या करेंगे? कुछ नहीं करो, याद करो मैंने बताया था शुरू में आपका स्पॉट प्राइस कैसे बदलता है, ये डालो, फिर लॉन्ग कॉल है, फिर लॉन्ग पुट है, या मान लो शॉर्ट कॉल है, शॉर्ट पुट है, जो भी है जितने भी आपके हैं दिए हुए करेंगे। अगर सेम प्राइस पे दो कॉल लिए हो, लॉन्ग कॉल है तो यहां सीधा 2 से मल्टीप्लाई कर दो, लेकिन अगर डिफरेंट प्राइस पे लिए हो तो अगर मान लो लॉन्ग कॉल K1 पे है, यहां लॉन्ग कॉल K2 पे रहेगा, यहां मान लो लॉन्ग पुट जो होगा वह सपोज करो K3 पे है, जो भी है आपका आप K1 K2 K3 K4 लिखता जाओगे, और K4 इज ग्रेटर देन K3 इज ग्रेटर देन K2 इज ग्रेटर देन K1। ये तो प्राइसिंग है, ठीक है ना? कॉन्सेप्चुअली समझ रहे हैं कि इस तरीके से। और नेट पोजीशन लॉन्ग है, प्रीमियम पे कर रहे होगे आप, आपका प्रीमियम आउटफ्लो होगा। शॉर्ट पोजीशन है, प्रीमियम आपको मिलेगा। ज्यादा प्रीमियम रिसीव कर रहे हो, कम प्रीमियम पे करो, नेट प्रीमियम आपका क्रेडिट होगा। ज्यादा प्रीमियम पे कर रहे हो, कम प्रीमियम रिसीव कर रहे हो, नेट प्रीमियम डेबिट होगा, आपका आउटफ्लो बनेगा। एक एक करके फ्रैक्शनल आराम से कंपोनेंट को तोड़ के, कहते हैं ना, अच्छे से उसको कंपोनेंट वाइज बना दीजिए, तो फिर देखिए क्वेश्चन सिंपल है ही नहीं कुछ, हर हाल में है। थोड़ा सा पैराग्राफ थ्योरी लिखना है, तब आपको थोड़ा ब्रेन पे इकोनॉमिक फिलॉसफी अप्लाई करना होगा, किस कंडीशन में आपको हेल्प करेगा। तो आप देखोगे कि आपको कि कौन बचाता है किस कंडीशन से। आपको लॉन्ग पोजीशन लिए हो तो क्या बचाएगा, शॉर्ट पोजीशन में क्या बचाएगा, ये इस तरीके से आपको डिसाइड करके स्ट्रैटेजी पूरा तैयार करना होगा। जैसे अगर सपोज करो मैं बटरफ्लाई की ही बात करता हूं, अब बटरफ्लाई लॉन्ग बटरफ्लाई हो सकता है, शॉर्ट बटरफ्लाई हो सकता है, 3 प्राइस है, 4 स्ट्रेटजीज है, K1 K2 K3। K1 पे आप लॉन्ग लिए, K3 पे लॉन्ग लिए, K2 पे शॉर्ट कर दिए, 2 शॉर्ट कर दिए। अब K1 पे लॉन्ग कॉल हो गया, K3 पे लॉन्ग कॉल हो गया, K2 पे 2 शॉर्ट कॉल हो गया, और इसी को अगर K1 K2 K3 K4 कर दिए, बॉक्स बन गया, राइट? 4 प्राइस हो गया। दोनों साइड में लॉन्ग पोजीशन है, लॉन्ग बटरफ्लाई कहलाएगा, अगर साइड में शॉर्ट पोजीशन है, शॉर्ट बटरफ्लाई कहलाएगा। अकॉर्डिंगली आपका पोजीशन बनता चला जाएगा। अगर ये इस तरह से रखोगे, सैकड़ों स्ट्रेटजी अपने ब्रेन में सेट हो जाएगा कि अच्छा यहां ऐसे करते हैं। इट्स नॉट अ टफ पोजीशंस। एम आई क्लियर? लास्ट वक्त प्रीमियम कैसे डिटरमिन करेंगे, तो प्रीमियम डिटर्मिनेशन के 2 मॉडल बताए थे, बाइनोमियल बताए थे एंड ब्लैक-शॉल बताए थे। बाइनोमियल बताए थे, उसमें कुछ नहीं, 3 चीजें ध्यान रखना है, जिसमें फिर ऑब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चन भी आ सकता है। ऑब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चन कैसे प्रोबेबिलिटी डिसाइड करोगे, तो P इज इक्वल टू E टू द पावर RT माइनस D अपॉन U माइनस D। यही था ना P निकालने का तरीका, राइट? जिसमें R एंड T याद रखिएगा एनुअलाइज होना चाहिए, रेट एनुअलाइज होगा, T ऑलवेज ईयर में होगा। अगर 10 दिन भी है तो 10/365 करके आप निकाल दोगे, ओके? और सेकेंडली एक जब ये निकल जाएगा तब फिर फॉर्मूला क्या था कॉल या पुट प्रीमियम का, कॉल इज इक्वल टू P इंटू FU प्लस 1 माइनस P इंटू FD, और इन सबको E टू द पावर माइनस RT प्रेजेंट वैल्यू निकाल लो, खत्म हो गया, फॉर्मूला बन गया। P हो और U हो, P हो और C हो, दोनों में से कोई भी फॉर्मूला यूज कर लेंगे। इंफॉर्मेशन क्या चाहिए आपको, FU FD निकालना। FD निकालते वक्त ध्यान रखिएगा ऑप्शन की प्रॉपर्टी ध्यान रखिएगा, कभी नेगेटिव नहीं होता। इज इट क्लियर? अगर नेगेटिव होने लगा 0 वैल्यू डाल दो, क्योंकि एक्सरसाइज नहीं होगा, राइट? स्ट्राइक माइनस स्पॉट करेंगे कब, जब पुट होगा, स्पॉट माइनस स्ट्राइक करेंगे जब कॉल होगा, वैल्यू निकल आएगा। और इसके बाद ब्लैक-शॉल है, ब्लैक-शॉल में फॉर्मूला आपके पास आराम से मालूम है आपको, कि बताया हुआ था कि SND1 माइनस X e टू द पावर माइनस RT ND2, और इसी को आप रिवर्स कर सकते हो, X e टू द पावर माइनस RT इंटू N माइनस D2 माइनस SND1 is going to be your पुट ऑप्शन प्रीमियम। ये कॉल का है, वो पुट का है, रिवर्स ऑर्डर में कर दोगे तो, रिवर्स ऑर्डर में करेंगे साइन दोनों जगह माइनस डाल देंगे, क्लियर? D1 D2, तो मेन क्या है, D1 निकालना है। D1 क्या हो गया, D1 इज अ रिलेटिव वैल्यूएशन ऑफ S एंड X, उसको भी क्या ln कर देते हैं. ln मीन्स नेचुरल लॉग, लॉग टू द बेस e, s अपॉन x कर दीजिए. यहां मैं मिटा रहा हूं थोड़ा, प्लस r प्लस हाफ सिग्मा स्क्वायर या सिग्मा स्क्वायर बाय 2 कीजिए इंटू टी अपॉन सिग्मा रूट टी. d1 निकल आया. एक बार ये फॉर्मूला याद है तो आप इससे अगर थ्योरेटिकल क्वेश्चन भी पूछा जाता है, थ्योरेटिकल क्वेश्चन क्या है, ये ऑप्शन प्राइस इज फंक्शन ऑफ. फंक्शन ऑफ मीन्स क्या, किस पे डिपेंड करता है, जितने टर्म है सबके साथ डिपेंड है, डायरेक्टली रिलेटेड है, इनडायरेक्टली रिलेटेड है. अगर मैं कहूं आर के साथ क्या रिलेशन है, पॉजिटिव रिलेशनशिप है, न्यूमरेटर में है, आर जो है पॉजिटिव रिलेशन रख रहा है. क्यों? अगर इसका मतलब इंटरेस्ट रेट हाई होगा, प्रीमियम हाई होगा, जैसे जैसे बढ़ेगा. अब उसी को अप्लाइड क्वेश्चन कहा जाता है. अगर मैं कहेंगे आरबीआई हैज डिसाइडेड टू इंक्रीज द इंटरेस्ट रेट और रेपो रेट, देखिए कहां से उठाया क्वेश्चन, कहां डाल दिया. आरबीआई डिसाइडेड टू रेज द और इंक्रीज द रेपो रेट और इन्फ्लेशन इज एक्सपेक्टेड टू मूव हाई. व्हाट विल बी द इंपैक्ट ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन? डायरेक्टली नहीं है, इन्फ्लेशन हाई होगा तो क्या होगा, इंटरेस्ट रेट हाई होगा, इंटरेस्ट रेट हाई होगा तो क्या होगा, प्रीमियम हाई हो जाएगा. रिश्ता है. इस रिश्तेदारी को समझ लीजिए, समझ में आ जाएगा कि क्या इंपैक्ट पड़ेगा. Am I clear? That's the way you are going to view it. Or once you have done this premium and other things, then there is another important chapter, and that is called financial swaps. फाइनेंशियल स्वैप्स में क्या होता है, इट्स बेसिकली एफएस, फाइनेंशियल स्वैप्स. देन swaps means exchange, and ultimately what happening, it's a very small component. Now it has got so many things, but time being, what we decide about is that there is an interest rate swap, IRS. Okay, interest rate swaps are there, in which two parties A and B can exchange their liability related to payment of interest depending upon their preferences and can gain out of it. Like if suppose A is looking for floating rate but had got favorable situation in the fixed rate, and B is looking for fixed rate but having a favorable condition in floating rate, B can raise the fund on floating rate on behalf of A and hand over it to A. A can raise the fund on a fixed rate and hand over it to the B, and ultimately they can gain out of it. So only 3 steps you have to make. First step is your situation is given to you, so you look into that, what kind of their overall burden, overall cost is going to be once they go without swaps. No swaps, then what kind of total cost is going to be there. Okay? It's not necessarily always it is floating versus fixed. It could be fixed versus fixed also. It could be floating versus floating also. So it could be depending upon their credit worthiness, how much they are going to have it. And again, one more important point I had already discussed with you, that it is not necessary that A and B should have their relative advantage. Even one can have the absolute advantage in both the market, and that can be taken. A could be beneficial in both the market, but again that absolute advantage is higher than whatever disadvantage is there, so that advantage could be shared, originating from only one party. एक पार्टी से एडवांटेज ओरिजिनेट हो रहा है, दोनों के बीच में शेयर कर देंगे. That's the way it is going to use. So without swap, then with swap, and then difference is going to be there. That difference is called actually swap points or swap gains or swap spread. Okay, and when swap spreads are there, that swap spread gain has to be distributed between two parties depending upon the instructions or otherwise 50-50, And if there is a third party called intermediary, swap dealers are there, swap dealers are going to be there, then in that case their specified gain is available to swap dealers. That gain will be out of the gain. Suppose 1% benefit is there and swap dealer is going to charge 30 basis point, means 0.3% will be there. So only 0.7 which is remaining will be distributed between two parties, 0.35, 0.35. That gain is going to be set, and that's the way value is going to get counted. Okay. And then after that you have to have a cash flow diagram. Cash flow diagram means between A and B, and in between you can create swap banks also or swap dealers also, and that transactions will be ultimately going to get decided. Who is going to borrow and what the flow chart will be there. Balance one party, then second party, third party will automatically be balanced. That balancing act is going to get work. Now, if it is a floating rate, then in that case there is a value dates or value, reset dates is going to be there, and in that value dates generally +2 dates is going to be value date which will be fixing for the next payment. So if suppose semi-annual payment is going to be there, and let's June 30th and December 31st is going to be payment, and June 30th has already been, interest has been paid, then after that July 2nd, whatever prevailing rate will be there, that prevailing rate will be applicable to fix the liability for December 31st. Similarly, January 2nd will be fixing it for the next June 30th. And that's the way valuation is going to get set. Reset date or value date is going to get created. So financial swaps is going to be, it is an OTC product, very heavily used in Indian market, and every market it is used, meant for a long-term transactions. Whatever long-term transactions, long-term valuations are there, it will be used. In addition to this financial swaps, we have also discussed credit default swaps also. We had used currency swaps. Currency swap is basically in addition to whatever interest rate swap is there. Interest rate swaps always calculate the things on notional value, and notional value we talk about equivalent. Means if you have a position of you need $1 million, so another side in Indian rupee you might be needing 83 million rupees. So that $1 million and 83 million rupees are actually equivalent to each other. They are on the exchange rate of 83 rupees per dollar. Thus the exchange rate is going to be fixed. That's the way it has to be decided. So that's the valuation is going to set. Clear? So go through with those and look into both for MCQs as well as for final examination. Generally suggesting you to go through with the John C. Hull. Right flow chart has been there, easy to understand. And the way I have tried to explain you, I am sure it will not be a tougher task for you. And finally, Greeks, which we talked about, whether it is delta, whether it is gamma, theta, rho, vega, all are there. Delta, we know it is actually change in the premium due to change in the underlying assets price, whereas gamma is change in the premium due to change in the delta. Change in the volatility impacting the premium is actually vega. Change in time frame is affecting premium is theta, and change in interest rate or prevailing market rate is rho. Okay, and there is a relationship how it has to be used, how it has to be viewed, and how delta neutral, delta hedged portfolio can get created. It could be on the one instrument, it could be there. Delta we discussed really in length, and we talked about that how it has to be viewed. It has to be confined. That's the Greeks has to be used. Now once you have already done these all things, then keeping these all in mind, I think you will be able to make Century 100% good score, and numerical based question, I don't feel that anywhere anyone has got any doubt. Let the evaluator to decide how to deduct the marks, change them. This is what about financial derivatives I had talked about. Some other component could be there, but those you things you can easily read it. Now, I quickly switch to my second subject for your review, for your changes, and that is called international finance. Okay, right? Now, this entire derivatives, whatever we were talking starting from forward till financial swaps or Greeks, everything is ultimately meant for international finance. And that whatever international financial risk related to currency is there, that is going to be used. But let us start properly how it is going to be valued. Okay. So, if your concept will be clear, these subjects are very easy, very practically applicable. So, let us consider this in the international finance. Your IFM talks about broadly two categories, two components are there, broad two divisions are there, entire syllabus, everywhere. It's a one is called forex market, and second one is called multinational companies, MNCs management, especially working capital management. These two are the broad categories. Right? There is a third component called exposure management. Exposure management. And there is a fourth category also. Instead of that, those investors who are actually looking for the global investments, for them also we have to have it. These investors could be individual investors, retail investors, people like us, how they are going to get exposed. So, these are the broad categories which you have to look upon. You have to view that. Okay? Your entire syllabus component will be taken care of. Now, a question arises here. When we say financial market, in the forex market. Forex market is the market currency where currency itself is exchanged, currency is there. So, what are the important component in that? It's called quotation. And in quotation wise, we know that there is a two markets. One is called global market, another is called local market or domestic market. Global market, USD is the currency, rest all currencies are commodity. Domestic market are the currency of that country is actually the currency, rest is the commodity. Okay. So, whenever you have like we strongly discussed about sterling, which is GBP, UK's currency, euro, which is European Union currency, it's a Swiss franc, Switzerland currency, Japanese yen, it's a Japan's currency, and when we talk about a sterling slash dollar or this slash this slash this or this slash this, that is there. Actually, whenever you have this is a currency, this is currency, this is currency, this becomes direct quotation and this becomes indirect quotations depending upon that. And every time you have two-way quotation called bid and ask. And ask is bound to be higher than bid because it is the rate given by the market maker who provides the rate, and they will always like to buy at a cheaper rate and sell at a higher rate. And when I am actually acting on this positions, on this quotations, if bid rate is there, it means it is my selling rate. I will be receiving that amount. If I am selling, say in Indian market USD, bid will be lower. Say it's something like dollar rupees rate is there, and say 83 or let's say 81, 82 is there. It means if I am selling the dollar, I will be receiving 81 rupees. If I am buying the dollar, I will be paying 82 rupees. That's the way it is going to be there. So, if I am buying, party is selling. market maker is selling. Clear? Then after that, from here you can develop another rates, and that is say sterling / euro or sterling / yen. This kind of rate could be there. This is called cross rates. Cross rates will be applicable. Even in India, cross rates are available, cross rates are traded. And then you can make it from two different, this rate to this rate, you can get your this rate as well as given rate. So given rate will be cross rate, your rate will be synthetic rate. You synthesize that and compare the two rates and look into arbitrage. Very good. Which is a condition of riskless profit by simultaneously trading in two different markets. You can create that position. And when you say arbitrage, then in that case two kinds will be there, 2-point arbitrage and 3-point arbitrage. 2-point arbitrage is called uncovered arbitrage, open arbitrage, naked arbitrage, whereas 3-point arbitrage is covered arbitrage, you return back to your own currency. Both are very important. And there is a money market arbitrage also. In the money market, when we say money market and currency market, actually where the buying and selling takes place, that is called currency market. Where borrowing and lending is taking place, that is called money market. And whenever we take this round trip, means you were actually not needing it. 3-point arbitrage clearly indicates that it was not your necessity. You simply deliberately try to take advantage of price differential. And when you will be taking that, it will be simultaneously very faster prices getting readjusted in the market. Auto correction will be there. So it is not like that arbitrage opportunity will be available to a greater time. It will not be like that. And so what you will be able to do it, quickly you will rebalance that exercise. That's the reason today fastest running softwares are very valuable in this market, that how quick, fractions of seconds, how fast you are going to detect and execute. And that's why algo trading is there, algorithmic trading is there, templates is ready, executions is there. जब तक आप manually सोचोगे तब तक तो execution हो गया, काम हो गया. Arbitrage is dealing in that way. That's the way market is working. Once it has been done, then the compulsion is there. How to really forecast that what is going to be the exchange rate afterwards. So forecasting is very, very important. And there could be balance of payment style of forecasting, balance sheet style of forecasting. Means by looking into demand and supply, you can view that how forecasting is going to take place. Is it clear? How you will be looking into demand and supply will be there. If demand is going to be more than supply, then in that case it is going to be your price high. डॉलर का डिमांड बढ़ जाएगा आपके कंट्री में तो क्या होगा, डॉलर का प्राइस ऊपर जाएगा. डॉलर का सप्लाई बढ़ जाएगा तो प्राइस नीचे आएगा. बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट क्यों कह रहे हैं? बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट बेसिकली टेक केयर ऑफ दैट इंटायर थिंग्स. बैलेंस शीट क्यों कह रहे हैं? आपके जो एक्सपोर्टर इंपोर्टर हैं उसके बैलेंस शीट के अकॉर्डिंगली पता चल जाएगा आप ज़्यादा डिमांड कर रहे हो या ज़्यादा मैंने अवेलेबल करवा रहे हो. इज इट क्लियर? अगर इन्फोसिस और TCS और इस तरह की कंपनियां या जो हमारे जेम्स ज्वेलरीज की कंपनी है ना, या अब तो हमारा ऑयल एक्सपोर्ट भी ठीक ठाक हो रहा है, जो प्रोसेस्ड ऑयल है, इस तरह की कंपनियां हमारी बढ़ते जाए, तो डिफेंस भी अच्छा खासा हम सेल कर रहे हैं बाहर, तो हमारी फॉरेन करेंसी इनफ्लो ज़्यादा होगा, तो डॉलर ऊपर जा नहीं सकेगा, सप्लाई ज़्यादा होने लगेगा. But then another two important concepts which is going to mean for forecasting is that called either through goods and service market or through money market. And goods and service market is actually purchasing power parity and money market is interest rate parity. These two we discussed in detail. One full question there. Interest rate parity, purchasing power parity. Purchasing power parity means law of one price in two different market. Two different market here means two different countries. Law of one price will be holding if the country is connected to each other without any kind of barrier. No, it's a laissez-faire condition, no barrier, no trade, restrictions. Then in that case, what will happen? Capital flight will take place if one place price is cheaper. हमने gold parity use किया था क्लास में, gold parity से डिस्कस किया. उसी तरीके से इंटरेस्ट रेट से भी डिस्कस किया था और फॉर्मूला हमने निकाला था कि जो इन्फ्लेशन है दोनों मार्केट में, इट इज इन्फ्लेशन विच इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. Inflation basically talks about. So you can have a question directly in the long run, bigger question related to have proving it. Even in MCQ, there could be a small numerical where USA has got this much inflation, India has got this much inflation, current spot rate is this much, after 3 months or 6 months or 1 year, this is going to be exchange rate if other things remaining constant. Ceteris paribus condition. So, how you are going to have that? It is basically a spot rate, say dollar rupees we are going to talk about. So, 1 plus pi inflation rupees upon 1 plus pi dollar. Very good. I will be ultimately taking you to the ST. बी वेरी केयरफुल कि ये जो टी है ये 3 महीना है, 6 महीना है, 1 साल है, बहुत ध्यान रख के करना होगा क्योंकि इन्फ्लेशन अगर एनुअल दिया हुआ हो और रेट 3 महीने के बाद मांगा जा रहा हो, बी वेरी केयरफुल, एडजस्ट अकॉर्डिंगली, टाइम एडजस्टमेंट इज नीडेड. Okay, that's it. And this is formula applicable to in interest rate parity, again interest rate in 2 different markets, and from there we had used one word called carry trade. ध्यान है कैरी ट्रेड के, जिसमें जापानीज येन कैरी ट्रेड हमने काफी इंटरेस्ट में देखा था कि द कंट्री विच हैज गॉट लोअर इंटरेस्ट रेट एंड कंट्री विच हैज गॉट हायर इंटरेस्ट रेट, इट इज बोरोइंग फ्रॉम लोअर इंटरेस्ट रेट एंड इन्वेस्टिंग इन हायर इंटरेस्ट रेट टू अर्न एक्स्ट्रा revenue through higher interest return is what transfer of or flight of the capital will take place. This is called carry trade. But whenever we talk about this higher interest rate, keep in mind it should be inflation adjusted, means it is a real interest rate. So nominal interest rate, real interest rate. So Fisher equation is going to be there, and that Fisher equation talks about that 1 plus I, which is nominal interest rate, is equal to 1 plus R, real interest rate, into 1 plus pi, inflation rate in a particular given economy. That's the equation is going to work. There is a now question is forward rate. We had already discussed in the derivatives that forward rate is an unbiased predictor of the future dated spot rate, which simply indicates that whatever the forward rate, today somebody is giving you a few February rate or March rate or June rate, it means that they are expecting that rate is expected to be like this at that point of time, and that's why we call it forward rate is an unbiased predictor of the future dated spot rate, taking care of all the possible variables which could be forecasted and discounted to present. Okay, that's the way view has been met. Next to this, once this entire things has been in forex has been covered, the forex market has been there, no other situation. It could be sometime cross hedging could also be there. Then the come is exposure, and in exposure that not necessarily every time one is exposed. Exposure is ultimately getting in contact with the changing situation, that is called exposure. Am I clear? Variable situation, that is called exposure. When we go outside to move in the month of March or in the month of October, we don't call that you are going to get exposed. No extra preparation is required. Yes or not? Why? Whatever our body temperature or body inside temperature is there, exactly the similar outside temperature is there. So दोनों तरफ बराबर है, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, टी शर्ट डालो निकल जाओ, है या नहीं है? But if it is a kind of a month of May, June outside, where outside temperature is much higher than what our body temperature is, or vice versa right now, where outside temperature is very low than our body temperature, the difference is there which is causing the exposure. यही तो exposure होता है ना, causing the exposure. Similarly, variables are here which is going to have that. So on what occasion it is going to be there, and that occasion is going to get divided into 3 parts, and one part is called economic exposure, second one is called transaction exposure, and third one is called translation exposure. Economic exposure is that when you go to another economy, that is there is exposure. किसी को भी लगेगा, I don't know, किसी को भी लगेगा exposure वो. Then what will happen? Again, a question will be there in this economic exposure, what kind of a situation? 2 important things we consider in international finance related to is called country risk and currency risk. 2 C's are there, which is changing your position. So 2 exposures are going to get counted. 2 exposure को count कर लो. Country risk, हमने बहुत सा example लिया, पाकिस्तान को भी डिस्कस किया, सोमालिया को भी डिस्कस किया. अभी देखा सोमालिया में कैसे आया, और we also proved it नाम सुन के छोड़ के भाग गए सिर्फ, है ना। तो अलग अलग एक्सपोजर है, करेंसी एक्सपोजर है, तो वहाँ हर तरह का एक्सपोजर। हमने करप्शन पे भी बात की थी, हमने ब्राइब सबको लिया, सारा सब कुछ काउंटेड हुआ, अल्टीमेटली इकोनॉमिक एक्सपोजर पे करेंगे। कई बार गवर्नमेंट क्या करती है, फेवरेबल एक्सपोजर भी हो सकता है, गवर्नमेंट इज वेलकमिंग यू, प्लीज़ कम, हम आपको टैक्स एग्जम्पशन देंगे, सब्सिडी देंगे, कंसेशनल लोन देंगे। यहाँ से एक और हमने एक प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व किया था, इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉब्लम था। इकोनॉमिक एक्सपोजर में बेसिकली इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉब्लम था। इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉब्लम में एनपीवी को चेंज करके क्या बना दिया था, एपीवी, एडजस्टेड प्रेजेंट वैल्यू, एक बड़ा सा फॉर्मूला यूज किया था, याद आया जिसमें। लेकिन क्या, एवरी टाइम यू हैव टू कैलकुलेट, यू हैव टू इवैल्यूएट इन योर डोमेस्टिक करेंसी। डोमेस्टिक करेंसी के टर्म में आपको इवैल्यूएट करना पड़ेगा, how domestic currency is going to help you. Okay, next one, how this second one, transaction exposure. I repeatedly said that whatever FD we have discussed, derivatives we have discussed, is the entire transaction exposure. When exporter importer is there, exporter importer is going to work, that is called transaction exposure, right. सारा डेरिवेटिव ट्रांजैक्शन एक्सपोजर को मैनेज करने में लगा हुआ है। इकोनॉमिक एक्सपोजर को कैसे मैनेज कर रहे थे, इकोनॉमिक एक्सपोजर को मैनेज करने में डिसाइड योर कंट्री, सेलेक्ट योर कंट्री वेरी केयरफुली। जितने इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर हैं सब इस काम में लगे हुए हैं, है ना। अब जो मर्जर एक्विजिशंस वगैरह होता है, एक बहुत अच्छा बाईपास है। मैं आपके यहाँ आके काम करना चाहता हूँ, राइट, मेरे नाम से आपको हो सकती है नाराज़गी हो जाए, मैंने क्या किया, आपके यहाँ के आप ही की कंपनी को एक्वायर कर लिया और नाम नहीं बदला, चल रहा है, राइट, चल रहा है। तो आपको तो पता ही नहीं है कि इसका मालिक बदल गया, क्लियर, चलता जा रहा है। खैर, दूसरे ने एक्वायर नहीं किया, लेकिन हम जब जाते हैं एयर इंडिया, खैर यहाँ तो अब मीडिया और न्यूज और चैनल सब चेंज करता है, इतना काफ़ी है, इसलिए मालूम है एयर इंडिया अब गवर्नमेंट का नहीं है ना। एयर इंडिया किसका है, टाटा का है। लेकिन अगर वो टाटा की जगह लुफ्तांसा का होता, ब्रिटिश एयरवेज का होता, और वो नाम बदलता ही नहीं, और उतना न्यूज़ अगर नहीं चलता, वैसे भी तो ग्रुप है ना जो आज भी न्यूज़ नहीं सुनते, ज़्यादा अपडेटेड नहीं है, तो उनके लिए तो एयर इंडिया पहले भी था। तो आप कहोगे सर आपका एग्जाम्पल गलत है, जो ऐसे न्यूज़ नहीं सुनने वाले हैं वो एयर इंडिया को जान के ही क्या कर लेंगे सही बात है। तो ये सब चीज़ें हैं। जैसे एक थोड़ा सा हटके बात याद आ गई इसलिए बता रहा हूँ, जब सहारा एयरवेज अच्छा परफॉर्म नहीं कर रहा था, बहुत गड़बड़ था, तो उस समय भी मैं सहारा एयरवेज की केस स्टडी क्लास में डिस्कस कर रहा था। आई डू रिमेंबर उदयपुर में मोहनलाल सुखाड़ यूनिवर्सिटी में क्लास ले रहा था, तो उसमें बता रहा था कि ऐसा है कि देखो आप इसमें कि इट रिक्वायर्स अ कंप्लीट रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग। पढ़ाना भी मुझे मर्जर एक्विजिशन एंड रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग था। इट रिक्वायर्स रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग, but it has committed a blunder, and what the blunder is there, he has committed 300 crore rupees of another liability through endorsement of the cricket match. अब देखोगे बहुत साल तक, इवन आफ्टर सेल ऑफ द सहाराज, ये जो क्रिकेट खेलने वाले थे वो सहारा का टी शर्ट पहनते थे, 300 करोड़ में वो एंडोर्समेंट था। मतलब इससे बड़ा बेवकूफ़ नहीं होगा कोई। दे डोंट नो हाउ टू रन द एविएशन सेक्टर। ओके, मिस्टर शर्मा थे, ये सुब्रतो राय के रिलेटिव थे, जो कि वॉज द हेड ऑफ दैट, डायरेक्टर थे, मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर कह लो, डायरेक्टर थे वो सहारा एयरवेज के। कहा कि देखो, मतलब कि सर क्या हुआ, एंडोर्समेंट से तो अच्छा होता है ना, ऐड चाहिए। हम बोले ऐड टू होम एंड वेयर, और उसमें एक छोटा सा मैंने कमेंट किया था। आई एम टॉकिंग अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 16-17 ईयर्स बैक, 18 ईयर्स बैक, एंड कमेंट वाज दैट कि जो क्रिकेट देखता है ना, उसको वो फ्लाइट में चलने लग ज़्यादा नहीं होता है, उसके इतना फुर्सत नहीं है कि बैठ के क्रिकेट देखेगा। और ये नॉर्मली टेस्टेड एक्सरसाइज है कि जितने, अब तो खैर फ्लाइट मिड इनकम ग्रुप वाले काफ़ी आ गए हैं एक अच्छा खासा फ्लाइट में। किस समय फ्लाइट की बात कर रहा हूँ, आज से 1500 साल पहले जो फ्लाइट वॉज ए स्टेटस, ऐसे फ्लाइट आज भी स्टेटस है। फ्लाइट आज भी स्टेटस है कि आप किससे मूव करते हो, लेकिन फिर भी मिडिल इनकम ग्रुप इतना थिक हो गया है कि एक अच्छा खासा मिडिल इनकम ग्रुप अब फ्लाइट में चलता है। उस समय इतना, तो मैं बोला जो वो ग्रुप है ना, उसको क्रिकेट देखने का शौक नहीं है, उसके पास वक्त नहीं है। वो लोग फास्ट गेम देखता है। फास्ट गेम मीन्स आप बैठे देखे 1-1.5 घंटे में, 2 घंटे में गेम खत्म, सॉकर टाइप की चीज़ें। इज इट क्लियर? या ना कि लगा हुआ है 4 दिन 5 दिन तक मैच चल रहा है, दिन भर सुबह से शाम तक मैच चल रहा है, इतना वेला बैठा हुआ नहीं है वो। और इतना बेला अगर है, या तो वो किसी और के कमाई पे फ्लाइट में मूव करेगा, है ना, या हमारे जैसा आदमी जो स्पॉन्सर्ड मूव करेगा, राइट। क्लाइंट देगा, पेमेंट करेगा, मैं क्यों पेमेंट करूं, तो वो मूव करने वाले लोग थे। तो रिजल्ट क्या हुआ, कहने का मतलब कि आप कहाँ पे इंडोज कर रहे हो उस पर डिपेंड करता है। तो इकोनॉमिक एक्सपोजर समझने की जरूरत है कि आपका पैसा इन्वेस्ट कहाँ होगा। एनीवे, ट्रांजैक्शन मैंने बताया, उसमें ट्रांसलेशन इट्स अ 4 मेथड्स, करंट, नॉन करंट, मॉनेटरी, नॉन मॉनेटरी, टेम्पोरल एंड करंट रेट मेथड, ओके। एंड उसमें CTA याद रखिए, क्यूमुलेटिव ट्रांसलेशन एडजस्टमेंट अकाउंट किस में है, करंट रेट मेथड, FASB 52। बहुत क्वेश्चन है इस पे, ठीक है, आई मीन आई से आई मीन इट, ओके। तो ये पूरा का पूरा आप एक्सपोजर को अच्छे से कीजिएगा, देखिए, ट्रांसलेट कीजिएगा। टेम्पोरल में ध्यान रखिएगा, इन्वेंटरी वैल्यू होता है, इन्वेंटरी वैल्यू होकर करंट मेथड पे करता है। आपको 3 चीज़ें ध्यान रखने हैं, कौन कौन सा कन्वर्ट करता है, किस रेट पे कन्वर्ट करता है, हिस्टोरिकल रेट होगा, 3 रेट होते हैं, हिस्टोरिकल रेट होगा, करंट रेट होगा एंड एवरेज रेट होगा। एवरेज रेट नॉर्मली हम इनकम स्टेटमेंट में यूज करते हैं, क्लियर। अब इसके बाद आप देखिए MNCs का, MNCs में जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है वर्किंग कैपिटल मैनेजमेंट, दैट ऑल्सो वी हैड कंसंट्रेटेड मोर ऑन इन्वेंट्री एंड कैश मैनेजमेंट। कैश मैनेजमेंट में लीडिंग, लैगिंग, नेटिंग, पूलिंग किया था। नेटिंग पे हमने एक न्यूमेरिकल भी छोटा सा सॉल्व किया था, ABCD करके कौन किसको कितना देता है और कैसे नेट आउट कर लेता है। लीडिंग मीन्स प्रीपॉन्डिंग, आप मुझे बाद में देने वाले थे, मैं आपको रिक्वेस्ट करके पहले ले लिया, थोड़ा डिस्काउंट ऑफर कर दिया, कोई बात नहीं है जी, आप $100 मुझे आप 3 महीने बाद देने वाले थे, आप ऐसा करो $99 अभी मुझे दे दो, कंप्लीट करो। $1 इज अ कॉस्ट, आई विल इवेल्युएट वेदर आई शुड बोरो और आई शुड गिव यू डिस्काउंट टू टेक इट। डिस्काउंट से फायदा क्या हो जाता है, हमारा कैश फास्टर आ गया, बैड डेट की पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं है, बाहर से बोरो करने की जरूरत नहीं है, दैट इज लीडिंग। लैगिंग मीन्स जिसको मुझे पेमेंट करना है उसको मैंने रिक्वेस्ट किया, थोड़ा बाद में पेमेंट कर देंगे, मे बी ए रिवाइज्ड वन। Basically, a better management, whether it is not necessarily confined only to multinational, even for the domestic one, it is important that when you want to manage your working capital, especially your cash management, synchronization of your receivables and payables are required, and make sure that your payables always fall after your receivables. The moment your payables fall after receivable, then in that case you will not have any additional liability to generate fund to pay your, and your fund will be locked somewhere else. Don't do that. NBFC, like important example, I'll tell you, within India, ILFS has been one case which has got a very good receivable but didn't came in time, and payables was overdue, and ultimately it became tough to pay salary also because receivables not coming, and ILFS became bankrupt. Now there had been a scams also surfaced into it, and the rest is what the case study is there. But this is what synchronization is important. So you have to have that numerical question to be carrying resultant to your MNC's management. Inventory management also, cash is also one inventory, as well as other inventory is there, जहाँ cheaper हो, market के नज़दीक हो या resource के नज़दीक हो, जहाँ handling आसान हो, जहाँ borrowing आसान हो, जहाँ storage आसान हो, जहाँ risk कम हो, आप वहाँ store कीजिए. That's the way inventory has to be stored, inventory has to be managed. And last but not least, investors' perspective is also there, where we studied something around 3-4 chapters related to investors' perspective. First, we understood the international equity market, international bond market, international portfolio market. Is it clear? इन्वेस्टमेंट इन द अदर मार्केट. जब इंटरनेशनल इक्विटी मार्केट की बात किए तो 2 तरह से इंटरनेशनल इक्विटी डिस्कस किए, वन फ्रॉम द MNC's पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, द अदर्स हु आर गोइंग आउटसाइड एंड रेजिंग द फंड. Equity market I talked about is your ADR market, GDR market, American Depository Receipts and Global Depository Receipts. GDR was there. Of course, the property you have to be very carefully reading it. Both MCQs will also be there, and there will be a question in the final, maybe theoretical question will be there in final to write on that. And second one is the bond market is there, where 2 varieties of bonds I talked about, foreign bonds and Euro bonds. Foreign bond is the bond where in the country, in the same currency, it is issued by the foreigner, like in USA in USD, in UK it is in GBP, it is in France Euro, Germany Euro, something like that. That is called foreign bonds. But if a bond is issued in a country in the currency other than the currency of that country, means you go in UK and issue the bond in USD, it is a euro bond. And euro bond is the bond which is actually in the currency. What is euro dollar? Euro dollar is a dollar lying out of USA, traded out of USA. So these two things are there. Very apt question, very important question for your MCQ, as well as maybe write short notes kind of things in final examination. And you prepare that, so investor will be taking care of it. So now again another, this is that from investor's point of view, can we invest? Answer is yes, we can invest. And now 2006 onward in India, it is allowed that sitting in the India, never visited outside, never crossed Indian boundary, but you are allowed to invest abroad. You are allowed to park your fund, at least in financial instruments like equity and bonds in other markets instruments. You can make it. You can same आपके डीमैट अकाउंट से आपका जो डीमैट सर्विस प्रोवाइडर है, जो ब्रोकर है, वो आपको फैसिलिटी दे देगा, आप यूज कर सकते हैं, आप उसको ट्रांसफर कर सकते हैं. And there is an international portfolio. What is the benefit of it? So we have already seen that portfolio making is there. If you remember, the graph which we had made is that if suppose two countries are there, it is like this is like this, but if you have international, it is like this. So international portfolio. This is a country specific C1 portfolio, C2 portfolio, but when you make an international portfolio, it is even taking care of some of your systematic risk, because unsystematic risk is getting removed or taken care through your portfolio formation. So two different countries may have high risk and low risk. Only one important question comes here, that which country you should select, and that will be a numerical question again. Two things will be there. You look into correlation coefficient will be given, a standard deviation will be given. Then you have to decide, if you are an Indian, you should invest in USA, you should invest in UK, you should invest in Germany, you should invest in, say UAE, Japan. So what was the guideline? Poor correlation or low correlation. Negative correlation is the first priority, and then low correlation is the second priority. Okay, low correlation will be there, which will be ultimately reducing the risk to a greater extent, and the benefit will be there that your this is the risk side, this is the returns, the portfolio size. Whatever portfolio size will be there, ultimately you will find out your systematic risk is also getting reduced. These are not able to reduce your systematic risk. That's the way it has to be viewed. And you as an investor, you can really make your investment through. This is from my side, in a flow, in a very rapid style, 2 subjects covered, 1 hour each. Okay, so from my side it is over. Now you start asking your question, if you have any question you have. Numerical, easily you can cover up. The only thing I'll tell you in the numerical portion is that especially related to international finance, that must focus quotation properly. Quotation, after decimal 4 digit has to be there, point has to be counted, how change will be there, ask will be always bigger than bid, and crisscross has to be there. When you convert direct to indirect or indirect to direct, you have to make sure that 1 upon bid is equal to ask, 1 upon ask is equal to bid. And when it is going to be slash this way, means this is your base currency, this is your unit currency, means this currency is 1. When you will make it is mathematically, then it will be actually dollar upon sterling, right? That's the way your value has to be set. And repeatedly I have mentioned that if you are taking it that it is not like this. If you take that dollar is in the denominator and sterling is in the numerator, then also you think whatever the way you are thinking, think completely in the same way. Then there will be no mistake. But again, there is a interpretation will be wrong. If suppose say I am making here condition, say $/rupees, and it is written say 83.12, and then you consider that 1 rupees has got $83.12, then it will be a wrong interpretation. It should not be like that. So knowing is also very important, and try to flip through that, what kind of a current pricing is going to be there. Normally dollar versus Swiss franc will have a kind of a question mark. Even I will get confused because both are more or less par. It is closer to 1. तो 1 हो, कभी मान लो 1 CHF इज इक्वल टू 1.012 डॉलर, और कभी कभी हो सकता है कि $1 इज इक्वल टू 1.02 स्विस फ्रैंक. तो इतना ऊपर नीचे होता है कि ये देख के बताना मुश्किल है कि किस में करेंसी लिखा हुआ है. तो उसमें स्पेसिफिकेशन चाहिए. Is it clear? That's the way it has to be set with. Number of times it happens that it is going to be like your sometime written that yen slash dollar is going to be there. It will write 1000 yen and dollar, that will be set. Or rupees slash 100 yen could be there. 100 yen में कितने rupees हैं, and that will be set with. So that's the view is going to get counted. Okay, that's the way you have to specify. Right. So any question you have? Quotation is the base. Quotation गलत हुआ, सारा गलत हो जाएगा. और न्यूमेरिकल के लिए कभी नहीं घबराना है. इस पूरे दोनों सब्जेक्ट में न्यूमेरिकल ही स्ट्रेंथ है. अ गुड फेचिंग है, कॉन्सेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी रखता है. तो मेरी तरफ से आप लोगों को एग्ज़ाम के लिए ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं. एग्ज़ाम अच्छे से दीजिए और क्वेश्चन को इंडिपेंडेंटली कीजिए. लेकिन उसके लिए एक मैसेज ज़रूर देना चाहूँगा, ये तभी पॉसिबल है जब आप अपने ऊपर बिलीव कीजिएगा. अगर बिलीव बगल वाले पे है तो सेंटर ऑफ ग्रेविटी आप ऐसे ही बाहर हो गया, तो नहीं होगा. और उससे वर्स अगर बिलीव वॉशरूम पे है तब तो बेकार हो गया. थैंक यू, थैंक्स अ लॉट.